American Revolution by Clarence Henderson. Motivation for colonization. In 1607, the first colonists settled in North America. There were many different reasons why people came to Britain to North America. Some people came for religious freedom, some came to gain national power, and others came for opportunity. In addition, the British used the Americas as dumping ground for people they didn't want. 13 original colonies. England claimed land in Americas to compete with Spain and France. Part of this land made up of 13 original colonies located on the Atlantic Ocean side of the Americas. The England colonies were known as the North colonies. These colonies were coldest of the three, but this cold climate helped reduce disease. The colonists of New England colonies experienced little to no religious freedom. The middle colonies had good soil and farmland to grow crops. Their religion was not dominated by a specific region, which gave way to religious freedom for Quakers, Catholics, Lutherans, Jews, and others. The southern colonies had the warmest climate, which made the spread of disease easy. There was religious freedom. Trade and industry dominated in southern colonies. It was also populated by many slave plantations. Navigation Acts of 1651. The English Parliament passed the Navigation Acts of 1651, which tightened the government's control over trade between England, its colonies, and the rest of the world. Imported goods from Asia, Africa, and Europe had to go through England and English ships in order for England to collect taxes on the goods. French and Indian War in English debt. The French and Indian War was also called the 7-Year War. It lasted from 1756 to 1763. The war was fought between the colonies of British America and France. Both sides supported by military units from Great Britain and France as well as Native American allies. King George III. George III is remembered as a tyrant for all excessive taxes that he imposed. He was known for losing the American colonies, and after the Americas got their independence, he lost his mind. Proclamation of 1763. The Royal Proclamation of 1763 was issued October 7, 1763, by King George III. Great Britain received land from the French at the end of the French and Indian War. This proclamation stated that colonists could not settle past the line drawn past the Appalachian Mountains. If they had, they would have to relocate. Under the Sugar Act, colonial merchants were required to pay tax on imported and foreign molasses, raw sugar, wine, silk, coffee, and indigo. The Stamp Act was required the American colonies to pay taxes on newspapers, legal and commercial documents. The colonists were very mad because the British Parliament did not give them a voice. No taxation without representation. The Sons of Liberty, led by Samuel Adams, was an organization that was created in the 13 American colonies. It was a secret society that was formed to protect the rights of the colonists and to fight taxation by the British government. The Boston Massacre was a street fight that occurred on March 5, 1717, between a patriot mob throwing snowballs, stones, and sticks. A squad of British soldiers. Several colonists were killed, including a black man named Crispus Attucks. When Crispus Attucks was shot and killed, he became the first person to die in the American Revolution. Tea Act. When the East India Company started going bankrupt, British passed the Tea Act of 1773, which made the colonists buy tea only from this company. Even though this lowered the price of tea, colonists still had to pay taxes. Boston Tea Party was a political protest against the Tea Act. Colonists dressed as Native Americans boarded the tea ships, threw the boxes of tea overboard into the sea. Common Sense was a pamphlet written by Thomas Paine in 1775 that inspired people in the 13 colonies to fight for their independence. His different ideas and beliefs challenged the authority of British government. There were several men who brought new ideas of thinking during the time of the American Revolution. John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, Baron de Montesquieu, Denis Diderot were some of the men that influenced government today. Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, John Adams, Robert R. Livingston were all writers of the Constitution. There are 4 parts: the preamble, the Declaration of Natural Rights, the list of grievances, and the Resolution of Independence. It marked freedom from Britain's rule. The Revolutionary War. The colonists and the British both had advantages in the Revolutionary War. The Americans had to desire to win, as they were fighting for their own country. They had